It looks like you want to be an entrepreneur from the beginning, right?
Well, actually not. I decided to.
But most of the US-based companies, healthcare and clinical-related companies, are headed by Indians.
A lot of them are headed by Indians and founded by
Facebook is not ours. YouTube is not ours. Any product you take.
I think in India, one of the challenges in India is that India, the university, the MBA does not equip with.
How do you pick a product?
You pick the wrong product or you spend too much time on the wrong product and you're bust, all your money is gone. Does your product have market fit? When you think I have the best product in the world but nobody wants it, you need to figure out what's the simplest way to solve the problem. What people don't realize is that there are 10 iterations of the same thing which have failed.
In India, picking up a resource is much difficult than compared to other countries. So how do you pick the team?
Like everyone, I don't have a ready-made answer. It's not easy at all.
Do you have any failures on it? How do you assess the energy?
How it is related to when I see resumes where engineering graduates have spelled engineering wrong, because that's really rare in a country like India. Okay.
How did you raise the money?
Well, what we did is same journey.
They don't have any idea what is AI, but on the marketing side they use AI. Right?
Where AI is today. Okay, AI is everywhere today.
As of now, there are the limitations for AI as well.
Popular perception is AI can do everything, but it's not.
What's your opinion on private equity?
It showed that the top 20 healthcare companies in India are all owned by PE. You know, Apollo, Max, Care. Schools are being bought up by private equity. Okay, you have your Oak Ridge, you have your Shirek. So what we do is, and this is also from experience, is that we follow a principle called fail fast.
Today our guest is Manuj Vangipurapu. He is founder, CEO and director of Quad1 Technologies and also Clinion. There are a lot of Indian companies and startups that are purely focused on services. It is rare to have a company, Indian company, to have its own product. For example, we are using Facebook, we are using LinkedIn, all these products wonderfully in India, but there is no product that is developed in India. That is true with clinical trials and also health management systems. We have lot of companies that do services but not the products. We have Manuj Vangipurapu, who is good at creating the products. I can say he is one of the persons among the very few persons who has developed tools or products for healthcare and clinical trials. Right? It is very difficult to go into the market, develop a product and make it viable and make it usable and make it profitable. But Manuj Vangipurapu has done it on his own. Without any investment, he has started a company and he has made it success. Specialty of Manuj Vangipurapu is, there is saying in Hindi, right? Whatever you have to do tomorrow, you have to do it today. Whatever you have to do it today has to be done now. It is very applicable in his case. He doesn't take much time to go into new technology, venture new things, go and explore and bring it to the table and build new systems and new tools out of it. He is expert in doing that. In this video, we will discuss in depth how he has started a company and what is his advice. So what is his advice to select an employee, how he selects an employee, how he picks up a particular product or how he picks up a particular technology, and also he's very good at AI. AI cannot be used at each and every place. There are only specific use cases where AI has to be used. We will discuss in depth how it has to be done, how the AI has to be implemented in clinical trials and also in healthcare management systems. One more unique thing about him is he doesn't believe or he doesn't do anything blindly. If he is going to implement AI in his tools, he is going to learn the AI and then implement it. First he learns and then he advises or directs his team to take that forward. So now let's explore Manuj Vangipurapu. This video is going to be very important for the entrepreneurs who are in healthcare or health tech who doesn't have any investment, how to start a business without investment and how to scale it. We are going to hear from him. Let's welcome Manuj Vangipurapu. Manuj, thank you for coming for the podcast and
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast.
no problem. Yeah. So we'll go from the background. Just want to know where you hail from, and we will start from your grandparents.
From my grandparents, it's a really far back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, ours is a very nuclear family.
Okay.
And the touch with the grandparents is not so much because my parents migrated from coastal Andhra way
Okay.
back in 1970s to Hyderabad.
Okay.
And so we kind of, my father lost his parents very early, so I really don't know my father's side. I know my mother's side parents. They are from Vijayawada, and but then because we moved to Hyderabad, we kind of cut off from everyone else, and this was very early in 1970s. My father joined the Hyderabad Public School as a Hindi teacher, and so my brother and myself also joined the school, and we are products of the Hyderabad Public School, Begumpet, both of us. I joined in upper kindergarten, and I finished in 12th, and then after that I was in Hyderabad at that point of time. I did my engineering from OUC MEC, okay, and then after that I got into IFT Delhi, which is one of the premier MBA schools. 2 years after IFT, I joined Dr. Reddy's in Hyderabad in the international marketing division as a senior executive for logistics. And a couple of years, 3.5 years in Dr. Reddy's, we decided to set up Quad One, and that's how Quad One was born. So that's kind of the journey. My mother, on the other hand, she was always working, so she was in the public state government service. She retired as a director of accounts for the state government, and she's was posted in Hyderabad and several places in Andhra and Telangana. I mean, of course, unified Andhra at that time. Okay, so my brother works in the Nuclear Power Corporation. He's posted in Kaiga, which is near Karwar in North Karnataka. So he heads. He's a he's a second to the station head in the Nuclear Power Corporation in Kaiga.
And coming to your family, your spouse and kids.
So my wife is a vice president in Thomson Reuters. She's a finance professional. She's always worked in corporate. I have a 13-year-old son who's in 8th grade, and he's also studying in the Hyderabad Public School.
Yeah, it is good to know about your family. Okay, and I have seen that you have gone to Hyderabad Public School from 1981 to 1991. Okay, after that you went to Usmania University and did MTech in Mechanical Engineering, right? Until 1995, it's Mechanical Engineering. Okay, after that you went to Reddy's, right? What was the shift? What is the relationship between Reddy's and Mechanical Engineering?
Yeah, so I finished my BTech, BE in Mechanical Engineering from OUC campus, and then I did my MBA in IFT Delhi.
Okay.
So instead of working for some time, I joined an MBA directly.
Okay.
So IFT Delhi is like if you're aware of IFT, it's one of the premier B schools in India. And once I finished my MBA, I was so a lot of people who are graduate from IFT, they look for they're typically placed in international marketing and exports. So it's all that kind of a course. So I joined Dr. Reddy's, in '97 in international in '97 international marketing, and from '97 to 2000 November, I was in international marketing. So that's how the switch happened. It was largely more in terms of my MBA and not so much because of my BE.
Okay. So it looks like you want to be an entrepreneur from the beginning, right? So that's the is that the reason you shifted from engineering to MBA?
Well, actually not. Okay, so the truth of the matter is that I decided to stay back in India. So our class was split in half. 50% who went to the US to pursue their MS, and 50% who decided to stay back in India to pursue either their MBA or their MTech. Okay, so I was one of the people who thought that I would be better off in India, and I stayed back, and I wanted to do an MBA, that I was sure of. Okay, not so sure about being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
The entrepreneur thing kind of happened by accident because once when I was working Dr. Reddy's, a couple of friends from engineering, batchmates from engineering, approached me saying that it's a good time to set up a software company, and because there's this whole computers which had really taken off, a lot of new jobs are happening, and then the whole Y2K thing was also happening
Yeah.
at that point of time. So it was all a huge frenzy around software and computers and all of that. So they said it's a very good time to set up a software company, and so I said, yeah, fine, I'll take care of the marketing and operations, and that's how I became an entrepreneur, not by a long-term vision or a choice, but by something which happened quite by accident.
Okay. So at that point in time, couple of friends
Yes, we
joined
got together, and
and you are taking care of marketing.
I was supposed to take care of marketing and operations. Yes,
Okay.
correct. But over a period of time, it became such that I moved into taking care of the entire organization.
Oh, okay. That was quad one.
That is quad one.
Quad one.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And see, you are from mechanical background, then into MBA. How did you handle technology, right? So, at which point you
It was
learned
not
technology?
easy.
Yeah.
It was not easy at all. So because I was not a core technical guy, I was not
Right.
Java, .NET,
Right.
correct, whatever you call those technologies, right? I was not none of those people. I really did not like programming so much.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so I tried my hand at it for a brief while. I realized that I don't like it. Maybe if I wanted to, I could program, because what happened over a course of over a period of time was that now I had all these projects which I had to handle. I had this company which I had to take care of, and I had to make these deliveries. I mean, clients were asking for stuff, and then so I had to literally sit down with my software engineers and figure out what they're doing. And even if I don't have to code myself, I need to understand what they're doing, because every day they would say that they would deliver it the next day, and when the next day comes, it's again the next day, and then the next day. So I figured out that if I did not know what was happening, then I was in big trouble. So I had to get my hands dirty. I didn't start programming, but at least I equipped myself with enough knowledge to be able to question them and ask them why it would take so much time, and to also be able to offer alternatives. Okay, I could tell them how to do something better. Okay, which I still do even with very senior folks, because the good thing about software is that it's extremely logical, right? If something can work, it should work. And despite whatever a software engineer will tell you, no, it's not possible. If it's logical, it should happen. It's just that they haven't figured out the code on how to write that code to make it happen.
Yeah. So this is a common thing I see. Many people were reporting into me when I was working in a technical company, IRT company. When I ask anything, they said that this is not possible. When core technical manager comes and speaks to them, they will make it. So
Yes.
even I have learned the same lesson that anything can be made with software.
Yes.
There is nothing they cannot.
It's all possible. It's only the limitation of that person's knowledge and his thinking ability.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Basically, you are an entrepreneur who jumped first and learned to figure out how things.
100%. You hit the nail on the head. 100% right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a tough journey.
Right.
It's not easy at all trying to figure out while you're swimming.
Right.
To stay afloat and not sink.
Right. Yeah. First, you have to learn you have to gain technical knowledge so that you can understand what they are doing and guide them how to do that if they are in any bad situation.
Exactly. Yes.
And there are many things, right? So you are from a non-medical background, right? And you have an engineering degree, you have an MBA. Why did you come to medical space? I have seen your products; those are either related to healthcare or clinical research. So what made you to jump into this? Is it your interest or is it by chance? So why healthcare and clinical research?
So I think I would have got my, formative years, like they say, right? When you're a child, those are called formative years, and they leave a deep impression on you, and they make you what you are later on in life. Okay. So my formative years in this industry was the time I spent in Dr. Reddy's,
Okay.
3.5 years. Okay. And that left a deep impression. That was my first job, and that was a job which I really liked, and I learned a lot of stuff in that, and that I think kind of left a everlasting impression. And I in Dr. Reddy's I was doing multiple things, and that's also where my technology focus came in. So I was in the SAP project. I was in the implementing SAP Dr. Reddy's. Then I was in the supply chain project. So there's a lot of technology and process orientation which came in then. Subsequently, when we started Quad One, I was still in touch with some colleagues from Dr. Reddy's, and then that's when there's a requirement for building a clinical trial software came in. So once that came in, I took it upon myself to learn as much as possible about clinical trials and clinical research. So that really sparked off my interest in this whole life sciences space in clinical trials and clinical research. So we built the first product in, way back in 2002, 2003. Okay, first version of Clinion was built then. It was a very rudimentary version, as you would expect at that time, with that kind of technology and with that kind of background, and where the Indian industry itself was, and where the global clinical research industry was. So it was a client server module. So there was a Java client which would sit on the investigator desktop. Investigator could open that. There were forms which they could fill in and submit. That would get synced to an online database, okay, on the web, and that online database would then open up these files and actually create and display reports. So
Okay.
it's clinical trials, but it was with a technology which is so at that time it was cutting edge, but obviously today it's really obsolete, correct? And then because of my interest, that's how it sparked my interest in both the technology side and the life sciences space. And then I spent a lot of time learning, reading, understanding, figuring out what this whole thing is about. So that's how things fell into place.
Okay. And see, a lot of Indians I have seen into service, right? They are not into product. Facebook is not ours. YouTube is not ours. Any product you take, Indians don't have much product except that RTI, which is released new. Many Indian products has similar to YouTube or any other space has come and they have gone. So why products, not services? What made you? Why you decided to go into products, not services?
Yeah, so right in the beginning, we as founders decided that we will be a product company. Okay, for whatever reason. I mean, we definitely wanted to create something. Okay, which services actually is also creation, because you're actually building something, but you're not building something for yourself, right? You're building something for somebody else. That's what services is, right? But we wanted to create something which we could showcase to the world. So when we built the first version of Clinion, we got a call from one when large Hyderabad industrialist. I will not take the name, but they had a clinical trial software at that time in India. But they were not an Indian company; they were a US company, and he had bought this US company, and he was trying to bring the clinical trial software to India. And so he called us and he said, what will you do with Clinion? Clinion is going to, you can't sell it. Why don't you sell my product? Because there was nobody who knew about clinical trials and clinical research at that point of time. We were young, we were idealistic, and we said, no, we want to build our own product, and we walked away from his offer. Okay. Now, good or bad, let that history will decide, but that's what happened way back then. Okay. and we continued on that journey to build products because we are always interested in trying to create something,
Okay.
out of scratch. Uh, hindsight, maybe it was a foolish mistake, but because building products is very hard.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think in India, one of the challenges in India is that the system, the university, the MBA does not equip you with what it takes to build a product. Okay, even now I think it's a challenge because a lot of people whom I see are building products today are people. A lot of them have actually come back from the
Basically,
US.
India is just study and get a job, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean I think somewhere in the ecosystem it's also the what I'm trying to say is that building a product, and we've done we have we have a services business also, and
Yeah.
and we built a lot of products for others over the years, and the number one theme which I see across most of them is that they don't have enough money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, uh, you're hoping that your product will take off. Hope is not enough when you're in the product business. Okay, hope is not enough. You need money and you need marketing, and again for marketing you need money. So everything boils down to the ecosystem of, can you raise enough money to be able to actually realize your product and its potential. And in India the ecosystem does not support that at present. Okay, it's still a challenge despite the VCs, the angels, all of that we have. Correct. That is why we see a much bigger buzz around product development and new companies and all that today than it was even 10 years back. Okay, and essentially this system this ecosystem we're talking about, if it was there 20 years back, India would have been in a completely different place. But this ecosystem is available in the US and in other countries. It was available 50 years back, 60 years back, right? And that is why they are there where they are today, even 100 years back, right? I mean, uh, in terms of financial markets, in terms of risk appetite, in terms of you know capable capacity to absorb risk, they are, I think, way ahead. That's one of the main reasons why we are lagging behind.
Yeah, entire US is risk based, right? Every person who went to US took risk and went there. So by in their DNA itself, they have the risk taking capacity in US.
I mean, who went to US in the sense I'm talking about people who are in the US.
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of Indians have gone to the US. They've been in service, and they've really done very well in the service industry. I mean, they've become, there's so many Indians who are now CEOs of so many companies. In the same breath, the funny thing is that especially in the life sciences business, it's possible that Indians have a certain affinity for life science and healthcare, because in the life sciences business there's a disproportionate number of Indians who have life sciences companies in the US, not in India but in the US. So if you look at all the various products be in the EDC space, the IRT space, in the CTMS, the CEOs or the founders or the heads of those companies are all Indians.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
right. So it's quite funny, but it is, and they are doing pretty well. I mean, they are valued very highly, and they've got a lot of private equity investment. So
Not only Facebook, not only
yeah, I mean
Google,
they're not, maybe
even
that they're not
in
that size. I'm talking about in the life sciences space. I don't think you'll ever go to that size in our space in life sciences and healthcare.
yeah.
Okay, because you're talking about B2C versus B2B versus B2C. Okay, and you're talking about pure digital versus ours is a very people business. I mean, unless you interact with some person, you're not carrying out the end result. So be it clinical trials, be it healthcare, you have to deal with patients, and the throughput slows down because you have to actually interact with a human. Digital, it's not that. You can look at 100 people at one time, 1 million people at one time, 10 million, 10 billion at one time. So digital has that kind of capacity. Our industry doesn't have that, which is why we're never going to scale to that level. Correct. But it's a big industry, definitely.
But most of the US based companies, healthcare and clinical related companies, are headed by Indians.
A lot of them are headed by Indians and founded by Indians.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Good to hear that. Important question. You have some exposure at Redis, right? and you are from a mechanical background, technicality you learned on job. How do you know to pick a product, right? So if I'm a doctor, I know what patient needs, what patient doesn't need. I have seen hospital CRM, you have hospital content management systems, entire pharmacy modules, hospital modules, all those are there. How do you pick a product? So is it by choice, is it by chance? So I have seen several products related to clinical trials and also related to hospital and healthcare management. What is your thing? How do you pick a product?
I think this is like a really, really good question. Okay, because this is where a lot of startups fail.
Yeah.
Okay, you pick the wrong product or you spend too much time on the wrong product, and you're bust. All your money is gone.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we do is, and this is also from experience, is that we follow a principle called fail fast.
So
It's
just
a
want to
design
clarify
principle.
one thing.
Yeah, sorry.
Here we means whom all?
And the organization, correct?
Okay,
There is
your team.
me, yeah, my
Okay.
team. There is me. There is my sales head. There's my
Okay.
marketing person. There is
Okay.
my product head.
Oh,
Correct. So we together, we look at ideate and we figure out that look, this looks like a good idea, right? Is it a good idea or not? We need to test it out.
right.
Okay. I mean, we could be an echo chamber, and four of us could decide that this is going to change the world, and go ahead and spend $1 million on that and build it and figure out that nobody wants a product. And that's what happens. So there is this concept called market fit, which is one of the things anybody would ask you when you go out with a product. Does your product have market fit? Okay. Does somebody want it or not? Are you just making it for your own satisfaction? Right? And you think I have the best product in the world, but nobody wants it. Okay. And there are so many examples of that. Okay. So that's one. The second thing is that you also need to be able to look at what the industry wants. So you need to talk to people outside and figure out that, okay, does this look good? Does it not look good? What's the number one problem and how do we solve it? The way you solve a problem is also very important. Okay, there are 100 ways to solve the same problem. Okay, you need to figure out what's the simplest way to solve a problem and not the most complicated way to solve a problem, which is why products with a lot of simplicity are actually more successful than products which have a lot of functionality but which are difficult to use.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to do 10 clicks and bring the same output which I can achieve with 2 clicks, I mean, anybody would go for the 2 clicks, right? Okay, so you need to keep all of these in mind when you go about designing, deciding, and finalizing a product. Okay, if the problem is too complex, correct, there are people who say that I'll take up complex problems and solve it. Okay, no, maybe some problems are not solvable easily. Why not? I mean, it's good to take up a challenge, but maybe some problems are not solvable easily. In that case, right, you would be maybe just wasting your money. Okay, maybe you need to iterate. Maybe you need to build the first simple version which does not have all the features. Then you need to build a second set of features, the third set, fourth set, and then you arrive at your ideal product. Many product founders and love to have products which are completely comprehensive. They can manage everything. They don't want to release the product until everything is managed.
Yeah.
And that essentially means never, because there's nothing like a perfect product. Product development is a continuous process. I mean, you constantly need to keep adding content. Adding features, adding modules, improving stuff, taking feedback. It's continuous development. There are very few products out there. I mean, I don't think there are any products out there which you can say that I've finished development. All I need to do now is just sell it. Okay, you could have physical products like your cameras and like what we have, right? So that's one version which is sold. But well, what people don't realize is that there are 10 iterations of the same thing which have failed, right? What you see in the market is that 11th iteration or the 12th iteration which has been successful, right? And that's what product development is. You need to figure out whether your product has a fit, whether the market wants it or not. Okay, and how do you is it something which you can build in a way which people want to use it. So finding out the problem is not the only thing. Can your product really solve the problem in the simplest way possible?
Yeah, even your quad one tagline is
Simplifying technology.
simplifying
Yes.
technology. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
See,
one of the things we've been very successful at, okay, is and we've definitely have an edge over a lot of our competitors is the simplicity of our solutions. Okay, so we kind of try and figure out how we can make it the flow as user friendly as possible. I mean, everybody claims that, correct? But then there's a lot of our customers. We haven't lost a customer in 8 years, and I think that's attributed to one is our the simplicity of our tools. The second is that our constant innovation is to make them better and better. Right? I think that's two reasons why people are with us and they repose faith in us to be able to give them a better solution.
so it looks like you go into market, speak with the clients who actually facing the challenge, and also you look at the competition what they are doing. You discuss with the team and then come up with the solution whether to go with that or not to go with that. So do you have any
Totally.
failures? Yeah. Do you have any failures on a
Yeah,
project?
absolutely. So the fail fast principle, what it says is that I'll give you one example. So we built a risk-based monitoring tool. Okay, so this is a very simple tool. It does site scoring. And when we built it, we were like, people would love this tool. I mean, who wouldn't want to know which site to pick and how a site is doing during the course of the clinical trial? Correct? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what you
yeah.
feel, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
but when we went to the market and we showcased this to our clients, I mean, nobody was interested. And why was it they're interested? Not that it's not a good product or not that it's not a good feature, but there are bigger issues, bigger problems which they want to fix. Right? This is not the main problem. Okay, which is why we just dropped the product. We spent a few months and then we figured out that this is not what people want and we just dropped it. It doesn't come to the top of the list. So we focus on something which the market is interested in.
And most important thing every entrepreneur need to answer is how do you pick a resource? What do you see? So different people say different things. So how do you pick? Because uh, in India, picking up a resource is much difficult than compared to other countries. Uh, that's what I feel. So, what is your criteria to pick? Because everything is new. It is not that service standard protocol is established. Everything is standard. We just need to take the people and do it. Yours is not a service based, mostly product based, building new. So, how do you pick the team?
I mean, I think it's such a question which everybody would love to have a ready-made answer. I don't have. Okay, like everyone, I don't have a ready-made answer. It's not easy at all. Okay, uh, I would like to say that it's for a lot of people actually it is trial and error. People have very specific reasons. People look at specific methodologies. I would say everyone has their own methodology. For me, it is I would like to look at the energy. Okay, in terms of is that person energetic or not in the first place? Okay, because if they're not energetic in being recruited or in being hired, correct, I would not expect them to be energetic when they're doing the job. Okay, so one is of course obviously they need to have the energy. Second is they need to be at least showcase the ability to learn or pick up some stuff. If they've done their engineering or if they've done their business management or B pharmacy or whatever it is, right? They at least need to have enough knowledge of that to be able to say that they would spend 3 years or 4 years learning that. Okay, there are many people today who have no clue what they've done in 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's really sad because I actually spent 4 years on that. Okay, and I mean I think you would know or at least relate to when I see resumes where engineering graduates have spelled engineering wrong. Okay, so those are a definite no. Correct. I mean there has to be a minimum criteria, minimum bar. So it's largely energy. Figure out that if they can learn something fast, have they learned something in the last few months? Correct. That's two. Communication is important, but that has changed because uh, we here in India especially we see a lot of people coming in from the towns and various villages. Communication in English is not great, but they have very good technical knowledge. Okay, they're very good technically, and that's something which we need to be very cognizant of when we look at, and we shouldn't look at purely English as the medium of communication. It's a challenge because right now you have more and more, multilingual, cross country teams, people working from everywhere, and if one person cannot understand what the other person is saying, it's a huge challenge. But then yes, we need to figure out a way for them to work together even if they are not able to speak the same language. I think software somehow kind of manages to bridge that in some sense. Okay, but then yeah, these are some of the criteria which I use.
Okay. So, do you,
And I have been wrong in the past, but yes, it happens.
yeah, do you expect them to bring new ideas, or do you check in that way also? Are they able to bring some new ideas?
Well, no, not really. Experienced people definitely,
Okay.
because that's what you take experienced people
Okay.
for, because you would want them to uh, bring that experience into your organization and improve your organization, right? If something you're not doing something right, they should be able to, fix that, or bring a better process in, or tell you how it's done. You cannot expect the same from juniors and freshers because they are actually come to learn. I mean, they are. Uh, uh, if you get somebody who's able to bring in an idea, then don't let go of them, because that's really rare in a country like India. Okay, it's very rare to get somebody who can speak their mind, to be able to, suggest to you something without feeling intimidated or thinking that they are wrong, because so many of us are taught, and again, it could be cultural, it could be upbringing, it could be schooling. It's so many factors, right? Are taught that what you know is not right, right? What your elder knows is right. Okay, because of which, even if we see something wrong, okay, we either say that okay, it's not my job to tell that it's wrong, okay, or we say that I mean, why do I get into trouble by saying that it's wrong, what you're doing is wrong. So they just tend to keep quiet, and because of which, then you figure out after a few days, wasting a lot of time and resources, you figure out the right way, and they'll come back and say, look, I always knew it was no, it was wrong. And they are like, why didn't you speak your mind? And they're like, I don't know what you would say if I said it's wrong. So we have this huge challenge in India where people are not able to speak their mind, because of our cultural challenges which we have.
One specific question: how do you assess the energy? You told that they have to be energetic and they have to have that intrinsic fire in them. So, how do you assess that?
Yeah, so it's all face-to-face interviews. Okay, you have to meet a person face-to-face, even if it is remote. I mean, nowadays most of it is remote. Okay, even in remote, you can make it out by their body language, by their expression, by their language. The the interest they take in explaining something. So when you ask them a question, there are people who can reply in monosyllables, yes, no, or there are people who say, give you one-liners, yeah, fine, I did that, right? Or there are people who take the interest to actually explain to you. Okay, sometimes those guys are categorized as talking too much, correct? But then it essentially shows that they have a certain passion towards what they did and what they are capable of. So those are the people we should really look for. Okay,
Okay.
so you know that tomorrow if you have a discussion, you're doing something, they are the ones who can contribute.
Right. So, and coming to the most important thing, how did you raise the money? So, uh, investing in a technical company is not a simple thing. I know, as you said previously, uh, first you should not wait to complete the project, 100% complete the project and then release it. I have seen
Product.
yeah, product and then release it. It has to be released with minimum viable features and go into market. That gives you some money inflow. But actually, how did you manage? So, I have seen many technical people, or I have worked with many of the programmers who have started their company, testers who have started their company in clinical trials. So whatever they have come up with a product, but they are not able to sustain because of lack of funds. So how did you ensure, and what advice do you give for the entrepreneurs who have passion, who have knowledge, but no money? How to go about it?
Well, what we did is we built a product. Quickly realized that without money we're not able to sell it. Same journey, same situation which many entrepreneurs find themselves in. Then we pivoted to services. So we started actually, doing work for others, right? Services, website development, application development, testing, all that kind of stuff. But the passion and the desire to build a product never died. So we built up enough reserves. We had a good services business going, and then I decided to go back into building a product. Right? And then at that point of time, I could afford to and had the money and wherewithal to build a product. Right? We did that, and like you said, we released a minimum viable product into the market. It should meet the minimum criteria in terms of quality, in terms of regulatory requirements, in terms of being able to work without any problems, because not everybody, people need to understand that not everybody requires the best product. Right. Okay. Just like you have many categories of organizations, of people, you have many categories of organizations, you have many categories of trials, you have many categories of requirements. So there is something for everyone. So there are people who are looking at a simple small product, there are people who are looking at complex products, and there are organizations which want the best product in the market. Yeah. So you release one, make sure that the customer is happy with what you have. So you literally need to pour in your heart and soul and service, so the customer stays happy and he's able to give you very relevant, valid inputs which you can use to then quickly develop your product. So that's the speed is very important there. To keep the customer happy is very important. The customer, a lot of customers are very patient. They will understand that yes, you have the best interest of their in your mind, and you will work to kind of prove it, and they will give you an opportunity and a chance. Okay. But if you do not show that willingness, do not show that speed, then they will drop you.
Yeah, basically that energy and that
Energy, fire has to be shown. Customer has to feel it. Customer should feel empathetic. Customer should be willing to support you, and it will happen.
Okay. So these are best advice for the entrepreneurs.
Yes, thank you.
See, I have seen one thing you have said that quickly you have to do. I have seen in your case. So I think you are the one to implement AI quickly, right, into both the hospital management system, patient management system, and also clinical systems. I can see that in your CV as well. You have an International Institute of Information Technology Advanced Certification in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning in 2021. Immediately after that, you have developed these products.
Yes. So I always want to do AI. Okay, it's a very interesting AI story. Okay, AI. When COVID started, also AI also kind of started. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously AI was there for a long time, but machine learning as a concept started coming into the general. It first came into the business environment, and now it's come into the consumer environment. But in the business environment, it started coming in a big way in around 2020, 21. And I always wanted to do. I was sure that this is the future of products of clinical research. AI is going to be the future. Okay, way back, and then I said that I told my team that we need to implement AI. Okay, we were scouting around for partners. We hired a senior resource who already worked for 5 to 7 years in AI, and we were trying to get him to build some tools. None of us were aware about what this whole AI thing is and what it does. Correct. And so then I decided that I also need to do a course to understand what is AI, because otherwise I will not be able to understand what's happening. I'll not be able to implement, not be able to direct, push. None of those things would happen. So which is why I joined the Triple IT course in AI and machine learning, and I could see the benefit of that within like a few weeks. Okay, just like you told me your story about how you benefited greatly from learning AI, I benefited greatly in less than 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, we had a company in Bombay who said it will take them 3 months and 25 lakhs to build decision trees for medical coding, AI in medical coding for our product.
ICD.
Not ICD, Medra coding.
Medra. Okay.
Okay. And we didn't know better. I said, yeah, maybe AI takes 3 months, and maybe it does happen that way. But within 2 to 3 weeks, I figured out the task which they're talking about doesn't take more than 2 hours. If you have the right tools, if you know what you're talking about, correct? And if
this knowledge has come to you after you gone to that institute and know about the AI.
Yes, in 2-3 weeks, I got to know that that's all you is about AI.
Yeah, but the background is this course you have done.
No, the course is, while doing the course, I figured out.
Okay, while doing the
three
course.
or 3 weeks into the course, I figured out that what the company which was going to charge us that kind of money was going to do
in 2 hours.
It can be done in 2 hours, right? Just with the right set of tools and knowledge. Supervised versus unsupervised learning, Collab notebook, Jupyter notebook, all of that stuff, right? So all that was something which we did not know, and they knew. They held all the weapons, correct, and they could charge whatever they like because we had no knowledge, we were ignorant.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say that within 2 weeks my course literally paid for itself. Right. So then we of course did not go ahead with them. We also fired that senior guy because we figured out he had no clue what he was doing. Okay. And then we looked at a different team who was actually working on AI. We built our first AI use case in 22, and then in 22, 23, ChatGPT launched.
Yeah.
Okay. And that kind of changed everything. It took us about 6 to 8 months to understand what LLMs are, what ChatGPT is, and then since then we've built a large number of use cases which are in production. Okay. Now we come to the next set of this where AI is today. Okay, AI is everywhere today.
Yeah.
But then where is AI in production? There are very few cases of AI in production, despite what people say, especially in our space, in life sciences space, because again, just like any other technology, this technology also will take time to mature, and that doesn't what the picture which these AI companies will give you, right? They sell you AI like you could actually use it tomorrow and become you can automate everything, but that's not the case, right? And that's a completely different story.
Yeah, many companies are on back step saying basically they are not using AI. It is just for namesake. I have seen many companies, they don't have any idea what is AI, but on the marketing side they use AI, right? But I have seen one of your conference where it says real AI, real impact. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, maybe these guys have done that, real AI, real impact. So that was eye catching. So it assures that to the customers you are using real AI, not faking AI.
Exactly what you said is that there are too many people who are claiming to doing AI.
Yeah.
Correct. Whereas we are actually using AI, we've been doing it for like 4-5 years. So we wanted to make that distinction, saying that, I mean, we are not claiming, we are actually doing it, which is where the whole real AI, real impact came.
Yeah, that was catchy.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you figure out in a particular product, any product you take, where AI can help? So how do you figure out that?
Interesting question. And
one more thing, if you invest in the wrong direction, right, it will be waste of money.
Completely.
Yeah. How do you pick up? I have the product, IRT or hospital, CRM, whatever the product, AI, WhatsApp chatbot.
I think it's the best question of the entire, because it really takes the crux of what you're trying to do with AI into question.
Yeah.
And this is where we've had to learn the hard way. How do we invest correctly in AI? I mean, we've done a bunch of things in AI. We have a couple of products in the market, and we have done so many more things which are not available in the public domain because these are all failed experiments.
Right.
Okay. So you're also trying to figure out which is the best place and best use case for AI. And that's essentially a combination of it's also linked to the earlier question, is that how do you figure out which is the best product, right? Yeah. How do you figure out product fit, all that, right? So a lot of those principles actually should be taken over into AI. Okay. People look at product fit as being applicable for figuring out which is the best product to build, but the same principles need to be applied to AI as well, which is not what is happening today. Okay, it is a lot of times the larger companies who have money, it's pray and pray. Essentially, you're throwing money everywhere and hoping that some of that will stick and you will be able to get a product out. But that's not how it goes, because the understanding of AI itself is so limited that people today, I can build a POC in 3 months. Or most lot of people can build a POC in 3 months. But to be able to build a production quality AI tool takes 12 to 15 months.
Yeah, which is useful.
Which is where I said production quality, because one, essentially what we're saying, that it's fit for purpose. It is, it is essentially what the customer would like to see. It is robust, it's validated, it's consistent, it gives the results, right? It's actually savings in time and money, which what is AI is supposed to do. To be able to do that, it takes anywhere between 12 to 15 months. But that's not what you hear in the market. What you hear in the market is 3 months, 6 months, and I have AI.
Yeah.
But that's not how it goes. Because when you build AI as a POC, as a proof of concept, correct, you use a limited set of data. And subsequently, when you start moving to production data, you find that the AI model behaves completely differently. Okay,
Not useful.
it's not at all consistent. It's not reliable. It's not robust. You're getting different results. To be able to stabilize that and to be able to build a consistent product is what really takes time and effort and money. Okay, so AI, you have to figure out that, when you take up a use case, you need to figure out that in the end result, that is, can this AI tool become stable or not, or am I trying to do something which AI is not capable of? I know that may sound like a, you know sound something which is contradictory to what is happening today, but AI is actually not capable of everything.
Right, that's correct.
Right?
That everyone.
AI can't cook and clean your house. Okay,
Yeah.
people believe it can, but it cannot.
There are
Okay.
as of now, there are the limitations for AI as well.
There are limitations. There are lot of limitations for AI, but the popular perception is AI can do everything.
Everything, yeah.
But it's not. So, which is where that sooner you get your hands dirty,
Yeah.
understand the limitations, then you can take a call at that. Should I apply AI for this problem or not? Is it worth applying AI for that problem or not? Okay. The most common example of where AI can be used is wherever data is. Yeah. Okay. Wherever documents are.
Maybe
wherever information
reports.
is. Right. Wherever reports are. Okay. Reports also no, but I would largely say that wherever there's a lot of data involved, right, where humans are looking at data, trying to make decisions, AI is very good at that. Where documents need to be processed, AI is very good at that. Okay, where you want to do some image reading and all that in hundreds of documents, AI is very good at that. So stuff like that are the most common use cases. When you now start wanting to apply AI to more edge cases, less common use cases, that is where the problem starts. Okay, where in which your expertise, patience, time, money, effort, all that comes.
Yeah, can you give us an use case for a particular example, any of the products where you think you have done the best job in this particular example to build AI, and in this particular example we have decided not to go with the AI, that is the best decision. Can you give me both examples?
Yeah, so one example is there's a tool which we have called AI data review.
AI data review.
Yeah.
Okay.
DM data review using AI.
Okay.
So what happens in this case is in clinical trials, data managers have to review the data and they have to look at, if there are any discrepancies and raise queries on that data. Okay. And that's a very tedious job. It takes weeks and months because there's clinical trial data is large. Okay. You could have hundreds of patients, you could have millions of data points. Okay. So how do you figure out, going through all of that data is a very challenging job. And today you have like a large teams of data managers doing just that. So what we did is we decided that this is a really good place to deploy AI because it's all about data. Okay, so data will actually go through the database. Data managers can actually write prompts. They can just ask for, can you show me, give me a data set consisting of subjects, male subjects, 20 to 40 years old who reported this condition but who are not taking any medication.
Okay.
A simple prompt. So the AI tool creates a data set. Data manager can review that and he can raise a query directly.
Okay.
On the EDC right there. Today, that the same thing takes about a few days, because the prompt what I talked about, that has to be done by the biostats team. Statisticians, he has to use SAS or R to generate the data set, give it to the DM. DM has to look at all that, figure out where the discrepancies are, log back into the EDC, go to each subject to that page, and then raise a query. So it's a very tedious job, and we kind of short circuited, really shortened the whole thing, and people are really liked what they did. So this is a very obvious, not obvious, I would say it's a very good use case. Okay. And this is a use case which is not being done by most people. So it took us some time and effort to arrive at this, to kind of, finalize that, okay, this is what we want to do. Okay, it's not an obvious use case. But then it has its own challenges. Is that how do you convert a prompt, okay, a normal English prompt, to something in SQL so that it can pick the correct data from the database and show that and create the data set and show it to the user. Okay. That's not a normal thing which can be done, which needs a lot of effort. It needs programming and it needs AI. So AI by itself in any application. So yeah, so if I want to go back into this whole thing, AI in application development is, I would say, about 20-30% AI, okay, and 70% application development, which is your regular .NET, Python, or it could be any Java, anything. Because if you want AI to work, in isolation it works, but it's of no use to anyone. Right. The best use case of AI is when it's sitting in your application, when interacting with data, it's able to pick up data, push back data, it's able to do all of that stuff. Okay. Right? And to be able to do that and do it consistently, make it work without any issues, okay, is what takes a lot of effort. Because remember, today AI, when I talk about AI, we are largely talking about LLMs, large language models, Gen AI, generative AI. And generative AI is susceptible to hallucination. Right. Susceptible to being not reliable. One of the big problems is that because it's a probabilistic model, if I ask a question, right, and a lot of people don't know this, is that if I ask AI a question, Gen AI question, okay, it cannot say I don't know. Right. It's not built into its DNA. It's not built into its programming. It has no concept of I don't know. Okay. Either it will not show any result, or okay, worse, right? And it not showing results is reduced. The worst case is that it makes up something and shows it. Okay. Or it shows you, let's say if there is something which is related to it. Okay, right? So let us say that, what's the distance between Hyderabad and Delhi? It's a simple question. Just pick it up, and it's not there. That data is not available. Okay, so it'll just pick up Hyderabad. Yeah. Okay, and give you a random number. Okay, without saying that I don't know. And if you take that random number and use that as truth, you're in trouble. Okay, that's the problem with AI. And to be able to overcome all of those challenges and to build a model which is consistent is what's the real challenge in implementing AI.
Same thing happened with us also. We just went into ChatGPT and checked who is the best homeopathy doctor in Hyderabad. It has picked one doctor, and we did not figure out why it has picked this doctor. We again asked it. So how did you select this doctor? It has gave some set of criteria from where it has picked the data. Next day, what we have done, we have entered all our data into those websites, and it started picking us.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, that's a new area of search engine optimization, right, which is generative AI optimization, right? Yeah. Because people are moving away from Google search and they are going towards Gen AI search, right? Gemini is, so if you look at Google now, Gemini is what comes up first. I don't know how many people are going below Gemini and going into the Google search. Okay. Yeah. People want bulleted, concise, precise information. They don't want to go through and research and look at 10 different sites and figure out and collate an opinion. They want somebody to give you an opinion.
Whether it is right or wrong, that's the next thing.
I want a summary. Yeah. I don't want, and if that summary looks okay to me, that's good enough. Correct? Yeah. So that's how we are. So that's why Twitter also really took off. Because Twitter was this whole bulleted one point thing. And if you look at how media has moved in the last few years, everything has become this huge bulleted one point, you know, very striking, very uh, do you know what happened kind of a kind of messages which makes you want to click on that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how the internet has what has been reduced to, and news has been reduced to that.
Yeah, you have given one best case for how you have implemented. Can you give me one best case where you have dropped the idea of implementing AI here so that it doesn't make sense?
Yeah, so multiple areas. So there is, I would not say we've dropped it, but we put it on hold because there is one where in which we had to do some annotations, some coding, and all of that stuff, and we were in the process of. So we initially took a timeline of 3 months to build the basic POC. Okay, 3 months were done, and we were still far away from anything which is usable. Okay, then we figured out that one is that it's a lot more complex than what we figured out. We don't have the technical capability. The people who have the technical capability are not able to, imagine AI and their functionality, their knowledge domain, how to marry both of that. Okay. The next one is that there are not enough standards in the industry to support AI being able to do that at 100% or even at an 80% scale. Okay, so which is where we figured out that this is not a good use case for using AI. Okay, at this point of time. Okay, we'll need to wait or we need to revisit it later. So we've just kept that on hold, and there are a couple of examples like that.
Yeah, what was that exactly? Do you mind telling those details? What exactly was it?
So
What you
we
are
were attempting to build SDTM datasets using AI. Okay, and we built C dash. That was pretty easy. But SDTM is much more involved than building C dash, than doing C dash annotations. SDTM involves a lot of, today it involves a lot of manual effort. So at this point of time, we've kept it on hold.
Can you explain what is that SDTM?
SDTM is Standardized Data Tabulation Model. It's a CDISC. CDISC is an organization which looks at data standards in clinical trials or in clinical research. Okay, so it's a way of representing data which can be submitted to the US FDA.
Okay, so yeah. I have gone through your website and found two important things on one of the tabs. One is Gentic AI and one is Generative AI. So, can you give me a use case for Agentic AI?
Good question, because that's the topic of the hour. Everybody's talking agentic AI. So agentic AI is a system which consists of a set of AI tools. It's not one single AI tool, it's a set of AI tools. There's a central brain called an orchestrator.
Yeah.
Which is
multi AI agent orchestration.
Exactly.
Yeah, what Grok was telling.
No, I mean Grok is a LLM model.
Okay.
Okay. It obviously uses agentic AI behind the scenes, correct? But then, yeah, so when you have to build your own agentic tool, then you will have to use this kind of an architecture, which is you have to have a central brain called an orchestrator. This is the one which directs all the other AI agents to do stuff, correct? So I'm the brain and I'm telling the body, I'm telling the hands, I'm telling the legs to move. So that's what this agent, what is agentic AI? That's what agentic AI is. You could do agentic AI for a large number of things. What we did is we built an agentic AI tool for the data review. So if you remember my previous example, I talked about where data managers have to write prompts and it creates a data set and then they can raise queries, right? Now we said that, okay, it's still very manual. Data managers still have to do a lot of work. What if we completely automate all of this? And how do we automate all of them? So we said, okay, let's do agentic. So what our tool does is, data managers don't need to write prompts. Okay, one agent goes in, reads the protocol, reads the CRF, it generates all the prompts on its own. Okay, the data manager goes in and reviews these prompts, whether they're right or wrong, and then if it misses something, he can add some more. Once he does that, then the next agent comes in, it creates data sets for all these prompts on its own. Okay, and it also creates the queries. So data sets are nothing but discrepancies. It reads, looks at the discrepancies and creates a query. It understands that there's a discrepancy and creates a query. So then the data manager goes in. He just has to go through the queries and figure out that, is this query right or wrong, and say accept, reject, accept, reject, accept, reject. Then the agent will go and post all of this into the EDC.
Okay.
So this whole job of data managers reviewing data, figuring out discrepancies, going to EDC, posting, all of that is automated
Okay.
with agentic AI.
Anyhow, I think you are using Gen AI for automatic protocol generation, right? That is generative AI, where you are mostly using generative AI for protocols.
Correct.
Yeah.
So look, generative AI is nothing but another name for large language models.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, because one of the best things they can do is generate content. Right. When we ask them a question, they respond to you in a very human-like fashion.
Right.
That means they're actually generating that response, which is why they're called generative AI. Okay. So large language models and generative AI are used interchangeably. Today, most of the AI use cases are built around large language models, correct? With some application work, some Python, some database, some external tools, all of those. So you need to be pretty technologically savvy, strong, robust to be able to put all of these together and get a working model out.
And one important thing is RAG, right? So are you using RAG, not only the legacy data which it is fed into? uh, uh, can you give me one use case where you are using RAG?
So, if you look at agentic AI or even non-agentic AI examples of AI agents, so RAG is retrieval augmented generation.
Yeah.
Correct. So it's nothing but a vector store. So what's the concept of a RAG is that you have your knowledge base.
Right.
Okay. It could be your protocol. It could be your CRF. It could be your healthcare data. It could be any kind of knowledge base which you have in your organization. You want to keep it in one storage, okay, which is a vector storage, and that's the RAG. Okay. The concept of the RAG is that when I ask a question to my agent, the agent, instead of relying completely on an external LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok, okay, first it look inside your own RAG, inside your own database, inside your own knowledge base, okay, and it will get the best possible matches for that, and then use that to be able to formulate responses which are more contextual to you. Okay, because if you send your whatever you for your organization, if you send anything directly, you will get a very broad-based answer, right? You don't want that. Okay, you have specific context, and this your RAG helps you get that specific context. That is one. Second is it's a faster response system because the RAG is sitting with you, whereas your LLMs and all of those have got millions of users trying to access it. There's speed delays, there's generation delays, there's so many challenges, right? And essentially, despite what people say, LLMs are quite expensive.
Right.
Today they are being subsidized for us. Okay. But the minute you get hooked onto it and they are able to provide consistent results, you can expect the prices to go up. It's just like cloud hosting. Cloud hosting was touted to be a cheaper alternative. But today cloud is more expensive than regular hosting. Okay. Your AI LLMs are going the same way, right? A lot of it is subsidized today. That's why all these companies are spending billions of dollars and giving AI for free. ChatGPT is free, Grok is free. Millions of users across the world are posting stuff there every second. And all of that is free for everyone. Who's bearing the cost of that? Today the companies are bearing the cost. Tomorrow we all have to.
Yeah. So basically, RAG is a technology you are using to get fetch the data from the organization or the
Organization
particular
knowledge
project
base.
or
Organization knowledge base.
Yeah, particular project or a particular product or a particular protocol on which the client is working. It pulls the data using RAG.
Correct.
And what's your opinion on private equity? So I can see lot of investors are there pouring money into
industry. So if you look at, there was a recent report It went viral on
Into
LinkedIn.
startups, yeah, they are pouring into startups.
Not only into startups. If you look at private equity is not for startups.
Okay.
VCs are for startups.
Okay.
Because startups is venture capital. There's risk, and VCs are willing to take risk. Private equity is typically into companies which are already have an established presence. They are of a certain scale, and that's where to move to the next scale, to the next level, is where private equity comes in. There's a recent report in LinkedIn and across which went viral, which showed that the top 20 healthcare companies in India are all owned by Ps.
Okay.
You could, Apollo, Max, Care, Yeshua, not Yashoda, AIG, Fortis, Narayana, all of them have got a majority private equity owner. So what you see today, the management are not the actual owners.
Okay.
There's a PE fund somewhere. It could be BlackRock, it could be Sequoia, it could be anybody. They are the ones who actually own all of these top 20 companies. So there's a certain fear that now I have put in millions of dollars into this organization to buy a stake, correct? Now I need to get my returns on that, right? Either I get my return by boosting the stock and selling it off, or I get my return in terms of profits. Profits also lead to increased stock market valuation. And how do I get increased profit? By raising the cost of everything. So there's a certain fear that this will lead to increased costs in healthcare. Okay.
Okay.
Founded, unfounded, I'm not in any position to say that. But we see a similar trend happening across industries. Be it in schools, schools are being bought up by private equity. Okay, you have your Oak Ridge, you have your Shirek. If you look at schools in Hyderabad, schools across, right, they are all being bought up by private equity. If you look at life sciences, our own industry, clinical research, most of the top 20, 30 clinical research companies are all owned by private equity. Okay. Now, how is this going to shape things going forward? I'm not in a position to say, but that's the industry trend as of now, when which these large financial services companies or financial companies are owning various industries. Real estate is the same thing.
So what's the difference between Quad One and Clinion? So why two brand names? Are there two different companies, or Clinion is just a brand within Quad One? So why was it separated?
Yeah, so Quad One is the parent organization. It's a services company. Okay, so all our services, healthcare also is taken care of inside of Quad One. Clinion is a product company. It's a product and the product company. Okay, and it deals purely on the product side. There we don't do any services in Clinion. So it's a e-clinical platform, AI-enabled e-clinical platform offering EDC, RTSM, CTMS, ePro, e-consent, and document automation, protocol generation, and CSR automation. So this is a suite of products, okay, which is what Clinion is.
Okay.
Okay, and Quad One is services, is the services suite.
But I can see few products in Quad One as well. AI Health CRM, AI.
We are in the process of implementing products into Quad One as well.
Okay.
But on the healthcare side.
Okay.
And Clinion is on the life sciences side.
Okay.
So there are again two separate verticals. Healthcare is hospitals, life sciences is pharma, biotech, medtech, CROs.
Okay, yeah. Now we got clear understanding about it. One important question. You have started with engineering background. Later you have moved, or you have several degrees from MBA background. Do you think for an entrepreneur, MBA, having a regular MBA interest and regular taking up regular MBA courses is essential?
Yeah, so there is this, there is, especially with the advent of AI, very pertinent question right now with the advent of AI, because there is this thing going around that MBAs are no longer needed because AI can do what MBAs can do. Okay, well, MBAs can do a lot more. Okay, you have HR, you have analytics, you have business strategy, you have marketing, you have a whole bunch of things. Okay, and I think an MBA is still very relevant. Okay, For an entrepreneur who wants to be able to start his own business, having a background in business, in strategy, in marketing, in sales is very important. And that's what an MBA does give you theoretically.
Okay.
Subsequent industry exposure is very important. Uh, there are many people who choose not to work and directly get into business. It's not a great idea. Okay, personally, and that's my personal opinion. There are many people who have done exceedingly well. Okay, it's again an individual ability and talent. But then, if you're looking at a structured methodology, to be able to to work in corporate environment, to understand the dynamics of business, to build a network, to build some net worth, okay, and then get into business is a very ideal scenario. And an MBA helps you in understanding the business side of business. And let's say if you're a technical guy, if you're an engineer, if you're from pharmacy, or if you're from commerce, or you're from medicine, right? You know your field, but you don't know the business side of business, which is basically finance, strategy, marketing, sales, right? MBA gives you the theoretical foundation of that, so that tomorrow when you actually have to implement those things, you at least know what's happening.
I think it is a very good advice for upcoming entrepreneurs.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, Manoj, I have gone through many of your websites and figure out some products. So let's go product by product. Maybe you can give short liner how it helps the people. First one is a hospital CRM.
Yeah, so I mean, you would understand what a CRM
Yeah.
is. CRM is a customer relationship management tool. There are many CRMs in the market. Ours is a very specific healthcare focused CRM. So it's made for hospitals. Okay, and what it does is the AI piece is that it also is able to understand who's the customer, is able to bring up the customer information, is able to understand what's the customer intent, right? Is able to summarize what the call is about, okay, and to be able to come up with some action points for that particular customer. So if a customer calls and talks to an agent today, all of that recording is there, and then the AI picks up on all of that stuff and is able to make it actionable. Call the customer in 2 days. Customer wants an appointment. Customer is not happy. A bunch of things, right? And then you could subsequently analyze all of that information to figure out, which kind of customers are more loyal, which kind of customers you can expect to get more business, and things like that.
Yeah, maybe actionable items when a customer calls for a particular disease. Maybe AI can send an automatic video to that customer where which is there in the YouTube for a particular hospital. So I think these kind of things is also possible.
Yeah, so what we've done is we've integrated all the healthcare assets. So you have your website, you have your WhatsApp. Okay, so we have actually an AI conversational AI chatbot. Okay, which is also one of the things is that your regular WhatsApp is you can ask some question. If it has a ready-made response, it'll respond. Otherwise, it'll ask you again.
Yeah.
Our conversational bot is able to understand what you're saying and is able to respond in kind. So let's say if I say that, where's the cafeteria in a hospital, it's able to tell you that. Okay. If I would, so when you say hello, it understands your complete history, is able to showcase what your past appointments are, what your future appointments are, whether you'd like to cancel it. Okay. You could say that, I don't feel like coming, and it understands that. Okay. I'm not able to come, is also understands that. You don't have to specifically say cancel, correct? Because it's a conversational bot and it understands subjects, and it learns from that. So that's what makes it unique. Okay. And you could even say that please book an appointment for me for a particular doctor or for diabetes doctor tomorrow morning 10 o'clock. He'll book that entire appointment for you with that one sentence.
Yeah.
Because it understands every part of the context. Right. That's what makes it different from any other regular bot.
Yeah, that's what, right? AI WhatsApp bot.
Yes, that's the conversational bot I was talking about.
Yeah. And AI ICD medical coding.
So today, if you look at medical transcription,
Yeah.
so that's what they do, is that you get doctor's notes,
Yeah.
and then you have all these.
Everything is manual.
Everything is manual.
Yeah.
So you need to look at the ICD codes, figure out what the doctor is talking about, put in those codes, because all of this is very important for those processing, insurance processing in the US and all of that. Slowly, some of that concept is coming to India.
Right.
So what this AI tool does is it takes all the notes and is able to translate and code everything automatically without somebody having to actually manually do that. So your medical coder tomorrow just has to review that coding and figure out whether it's right or not and then sign off on it. It's as simple as that. So it kind of automates the entire process.
Yeah, I think it's very useful.
It's a very useful tool, yes.
AI telemedicine solutions.
Yeah, so telemedicine is online consultation, correct? We've been doing that for a large number of years now, more than 15 years. Okay, and what we've done is we've tried to incorporate some AI elements into that in terms of recognition, in terms of understanding the context, recording, being able to understand what has been discussed during that, translating that into text into multiple languages. Because one of the things AI is very good at is language translation, right? So we are using some of that stuff.
Yeah. AI preventive healthcare checkup.
Okay, so this is some of the new stuff which we're doing in conjunction with a partner, one of our clients. Okay, so you go for a preventive health checkup. It's able to action out. It's able to give you a score, risk score. It's able to also action out that this is the test which there are some you're going over. Okay, this is the frequency by which you need to get tested and all of that.
Okay. And healthcare unified payment module.
So in this, for especially again for healthcare, we deal with large number of hospitals. So you could actually, it's a payments platform. Every hospital can have its own payment system, but it's unified into one single platform.
Okay. Hospital machine integration.
Um, every if you look at Indian hospitals, Middle East, anywhere, there are large number of machines, and all of these need to be integrated to be able to talk together. That's a manual process which happens, and we happen to be pretty good at that. So we've been doing that for some time now.
Okay. And coming to Clinion EDC, how Clinion EDC augmented with AI is different from other EDC.
So
As you
Clinion,
already said that you are picking the data and making suggestions to the clinical data managers.
So Clinion is an AI-enabled e-clinical platform. Clinion EDC is a pretty mature platform. It's been in the market for almost 12 years. We have done more than 650 clinical trials. Okay. At any point of time, we have over 140 studies running on our servers in the US, Europe, and India. We have more than 50 clients. What really differentiates Clinion from the competitors is that we have AI tools embedded in the platform and come as part of the platform. Okay. One is that we've got the largest number of AI tools compared to anyone else. Okay. The second thing is that the AI is part of the platform. So when you subscribe to the platform, you also get the AI inbuilt. Okay. It's not comes as a separate, doesn't come as a separate service. You don't have to pay extra money for some of the AI tools. Okay, it comes as part of the platform. That's a unique differentiator, because our vision is to provide an integrated end-to-end platform which accelerates clinical trials using AI.
Okay. And also your EDC is integrated with RTSM. Right?
So our EDC and RTSM integration is a kind of a unique integration, because one is you can do randomization through the EDC, which most other platforms have. But what we can also do is that we can do kit assignment, reassignment, and returns to the EDC, which most other platforms do not have.
Right. Yeah. So that is one of the USP of your RTSM system.
Yes, very much so.
And about ECOA and ePro.
ECOA is again, now what we've seen is that as the FDA and the DCGI and most of the regulatory authorities are pushing for more real world data, real world evidence, we see a huge uptake in the number of ePro studies or ECOA studies. Okay, so ECOA is essentially ePro, eConsent, eSource, and our ePro is available on Android, iOS, and on the web. You could alternate between these systems.
Okay.
Easy, very fast to set up, multilingual. It comes as a standalone system or integrated with the EDC.
Okay, even it can be integrated with RTSM.
With the RTSM also as well.
And RTSM. So how you have implemented AI in RTSM?
Well, we haven't yet implemented AI in RTSM.
Okay.
We're in the process of doing so. One of the biggest challenges in RTSM is predictive, forecasting, inventory
Right.
forecasting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a challenge which we plan to take up, which we're in the
Okay.
process of figuring out how to do that using AI. We know AI can be used for that, but then again, like I said before, is that we need something which is dependable, predictable, right, robust. So easier said than done. We need to figure out the mathematical model first, because forecasting is a lot of maths, and then subsequently try and see how AI can do that.
Yeah, and also each study is unique, so you cannot depend on the previous study data to
Forecast for this study.
yeah.
Yes, correct, exactly. Yes.
Okay. And CTMS.
So CTMS takes care of the operations of clinical trial. It takes care of budgeting, monitoring, expense management, project management. Okay, it looks at all the bells and whistles of actually carrying out a clinical trial. So Clinion CTMS takes care of that.
Okay. And ETMF.
So ETMF is a document management system. Okay, and what we have is we have a online document management system which is integrated with the Clinion EDC. So EDC and CTMS documents flow into the ETMF. Okay, it's a document repository, and it's something which is required for large scale clinical trials.
Any AI implementation here?
Nothing in TMF right now.
TMS. Okay. Document automation.
Well, this is again a very new area. So, like I said before, is that AI is really good at documentation, and we're talking about generative AI. So, we have two tools in document automation. One is e-protocol generation and CSR automation. Okay. In e-protocol generation, what we do is we upload a protocol summary, and we're able to generate the entire protocol. So, your protocol summary is typically anywhere between 5 to 10 pages, and your protocol itself is about 100 pages. Okay. So we need to be able to flesh out from your summary. We should be able to flesh out the entire protocol, and that's what our e-protocol tool does. It runs on Transliterate templates and on ICH M11 templates. It takes those inputs, it takes those guidelines, and is able to generate it section by section. The entire process of generation is in one tool, so you could actually have multiple authors, you could have reviewers commenting inline, and final generation in the tool itself.
Okay. Yeah.
So CSR is again very similar. In CSR, it's a clinical study report. So what happens in this clinical study report is that you need to, once the study is done, all the data is analyzed, you need to be able to generate this clinical study report for submission to the FDA. So you can upload the protocol and the SAP and the TLFs. The CSR tool using AI gets the relevant data. It has a template, pulls the relevant data, changes the tense, generates the safety narratives, and is able to generate about 70 to 80% of the CSR automatically.
Good. Yeah. AI medical coding.
Medical coding is a part of EDC tool. Okay. And we do Medra and Houdini coding. That's for adverse events and conmeds.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So how AI is used here?
So what we have is we encoded the Medra dictionary, and when somebody submits an adverse event term, it's called a verbatim. So it could be cold fever, it could be cold and age, it could be any one of the various adverse events people experience during clinical trials. Then the system picks up that adverse event, searches for that in the medical dictionary, in the meta dictionary, makes a match, and gives you the 5 best matches.
Okay.
So the coder can pick the best match from those.
Okay. Yeah, and eSource.
eSource is a tablet-based tools available at the site, where sites can enter data directly into the system, and that goes and sits in the EDC. So that's already source, data at source. So that's how an eSource is.
Okay. And eConsent.
eConsent, not available in India, or at least not accepted, in a sense that most companies are wary of using eConsent in India, but it's something which is really taking off in the US. So it could be remote consent or on-site consent. So patients can actually use your mobile phones to give consent remotely, or they could come to the site. There's a tablet. It has the full ICF forms, informed consent forms. Patient goes through that, signs off digitally. Investigator signs off digitally, and your consent is done.
Any video and audio consent implemented?
Yeah, so both the ePro and the eConsent have teleconsultation modules, so
Okay.
video consultation. So video is, you can do a teleconsultation on the fly, and that is recorded and kept available for future purposes.
Any AI implementation here?
At this point of time, no. We plan to use AI in ePro, where in which you could upload the forms and that will generate the ePro application.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any product we have missed?
I think we've covered all the products. Yes, we've
Products.
done a very, very comprehensive research. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
no problem. Yeah, Manoj, what is the future of Clinion Quad 1 and what do you want to achieve in future?
Well, I think the kind of vision stays the same, is that how can we get an integrated platform? That's the challenge. I mean, you have unified platforms out there, but all of them still work in a lot of isolation. So how do we can get an integrated platform? Plus, what's the best use of AI in achieving or implementing it in clinical trials, accelerating trials, making them simpler? AI has a lot of potential, but from our experience in the last 2-3 years, we figured out that it's not as easy as it seems. It could possibly be getting better, but then that also means that we also need to get better at being able to implement it and use it to its potential. At the same time, we need to figure out what the regulators are looking at, how are they planning to use AI, how do they look at systems using AI. So my long-term vision for Clinion is to kind of be the first to be able to use AI in almost every aspects of clinical research, in all our various tools, to kind of really accelerate and automate things and make really life simple for clinical research.
So anything else?
No, I think it's been a wonderful talk, and I mean, I had to rack my brain for some of them. It was a really stimulating conversation, and some of the things which I really wanted to express came out, and I hoped uh, you got that. And if there's anything else which I had missed, you please let me know. I'll be happy to answer it if I can.
Yeah, sure. Manu, thank you for joining us. And I think based on the how the video goes, I know most of the people will have lots of comments. Based on that, I would like to have one more session with you.
I don't know, after all these many questions, is there anything left
Yeah.
for me to say?
Yeah.
But thank you for the invite. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manu.